Welcome to Global Domination Live. My name is Lisa Marie Wand, and I'm here with my amazing, most of the time amazing co-host Stephanie Gilezan. And
you should hear what she says about me behind the scenes. Go ahead.
That's why it's behind the scenes. And we've spent the last 2 decades building and scaling our real estate businesses. And most real estate agents focus on their immediate neighborhood, city, or region. And we're here to say, why think small when you can grow your business to a whole new level? And EXP offers opportunities for you to take your local business to a national and a global scale. So welcome to our show. And Stephanie, would you like to introduce our guest of honor today?
I've got to introduce this badass man. Excuse my true, telling everyone exactly who you are, but Gerard is flipping amazing. And I'm not even going to go back to the day we met. I'm going to go back to and have you tell that story, Gerard, about what you heard about me 2 years before we ever had a conversation. Eventually we'll get to that. But everybody that's watching today, we wanted Gerard on here because, one, he is a business broker expert, a CBI. He's going to explain what all of that is. But he is now with EXP because, one, it better suits his business, and we're going to get into that. But what I love about it is you've brought the conversation to EXP Realty and EXP Commercial agents, giving them another opportunity to earn revenue on deals that they would have never thought about before. Because in real estate, we're always thinking about property. We're always thinking about commercial buildings or houses, and we sell them and make a commission. But in this avenue, it's business sales happen every single day, probably more frequently than houses trade and commercial real estate trades. And that's your specialty. So welcome this badass man, Gerard.
Welcome, Gerard.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, Lisa Marie. I appreciate being here. Yeah, so I will tell you one thing that, Stephanie, you probably didn't know. I did start off in residential real estate.
I know, that's
crazy.
I
made it for 1 year, and
I
was so bad at it. I had no patience, and I worked a lot. I was so bad. I made no money working 60 hours, and I figured out there was another way to make money, which was this thing called business brokering. So 20 years ago, when I got into business brokering from a little newspaper article that I went to a little Holiday Inn hotel one Saturday, sat for 3 hours waiting for them to ask me for money, that kind of deal. And they talked about that and talked about what you need to sell a business, which technically is really only a real estate license. Although I have a lot of paper on the wall, a master's degree, a law degree, all this stuff. So I got into business brokering, and back then it was local. What we're talking about is localized. So I could not, even with an MBA, I couldn't read a financial statement to save my life. So I went out as a 30-year-old and went out and got about 25 listings immediately locally. Can you imagine walking into a business, trying to figure out who the owner is, being very confidential, being quiet, then ask them if they want to sell their business? That's what I did. That's how I was taught. And you know how many places I got kicked out of? But anyway, so because they're like, don't be talking about that in front of my staff. So
you've got the footprints on your backside to prove it, don't you? Get out of here.
Literally, I was thrown out of hundreds of places locally. I had to use my family's name to walk myself in the door a lot. Got 20 listings and couldn't understand what the value of that business was. Found this old gentleman that used to write out on a piece of napkin paper. He's like, okay, Gerard, I need this. I need this information, this financial information. He would literally hand me a piece of paper. Okay, it's worth this. We put it in the newspaper. Biz Buy Sell was just starting, some of the platforms. We put it out, but really no one was there yet. And we'd sell deals through the local newspaper. Man, and we were successful, and that was local. And then moving fast forwarding to about 4 years ago, I started thinking about what's about to happen with the baby boomers, with the tsunami going to happen, with all the businesses that are going to be transferring assets over the next 3 to 5 years that we've discussed. And I'm sitting there building a team. And I actually went with another brokerage that was saying they're licensed in different states. So I'm looking, and I got this map, and I'm finding brokers in each state. And I'm like, okay, I can work deals here. I can work deals here. And then I get to a place called Kentucky, and they didn't have that. They didn't have anyone in that state. And I had a buddy that had been friends of mine for about 10 years. And I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, Jeff, I'm like, do you know, this is a few years ago, do you know anyone in Kentucky that's a broker that I could possibly run some deals through if I got some business deals there? And he's calling me, he goes, yeah, I got one. And he goes, but she's a badass. He goes, do not call her for BS. Do not. I mean, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't do that. But that was shelved and I never made that phone call. And then that whole team that I built, within 2 years, I fired them. They didn't listen to anything I ever did.
That never happens.
It was the worst thing I ever did. It was the worst. I mean, it was the worst team I ever built. I try to take timeshare agents thinking they're hard salespeople and teach them how to do business brokering. What I didn't realize is they're good when they were brought the prospects, right?
Yeah.
That was the miss. So I did build a team, and during pandemic created this business valuation software, only because I just fired the team and was trying to create a filter system in order that when I'm reaching out to a business owner and I put his information in, if his business was under a certain value, he wasn't going to talk to me. Back then it was 250,000. Now that bar is way up there since then. So created this software. It ends up developing into something bigger than I thought. It's something that integrates with QuickBooks called Today's Valve for you, Stephanie, since you probably don't know the name. And so a friend of mine connects me. He's like, listen, eXp Commercial is about to open a business brokerage division. You need to talk to this person. It was Stephanie Gilezan.
The one and the only.
Huh?
The one and the only.
The one and the only. So we get on a scheduled call. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to demo the software. We got 4 minutes in. There's no demo. She goes straight into the recruiting thing because I'm talking about, this is my background. We've sold all this stuff. And she's like, oh my God, have you ever thought about, taking your team and going national and doing this? And this is what eXp Commercial does. And I told her, I was like, we remember this conversation. I said, I don't get recruited. I said, I do the recruiting. Man, your face, Stephanie's face, like, you can't afford. I mean, it was funny. She got right in the thing. You can't recruit me.
I did this number.
Yeah.
That was on a Friday. And that night I was thinking, and something was clicking in my head. And I started reaching out to my buddy that I hadn't talked to from Kentucky, because I knew she was from Kentucky. I heard her background. And I'm like, hey, Jeff, you need to get a hold of me. I've been talking to this person. I need to know who that person was you're trying to connect me to 2 years prior. And by Sunday night, he called me up. He goes, it was Stephanie Gilezan. I go, no way. No way.
Oh, this is a good full circle story. I love this.
Full circle story. So Monday morning, I got back on Stephanie's calendar to talk to her. So that was a spark. Okay. Because he just confirmed. I already heard. And I did ask him this. Does she BS anything? He goes, nope. If she says something, she's probably even doing more than what she says. I'm like, okay. So we started having conversations. I went out to Dallas, met with a bunch of people. And I go back to my team. This is October 2021. I walk in our team meeting. We're closing all kinds of deals. I said, listen, guys, I'm moving my license with eXp Commercial. And they're like, what the heck is eXp Commercial? I'm like, you're not moving your license. I'm moving my license. I had a friend put his license over my brokerage. And I said, I'm going to test the waters out. They say they're going to do this. I want to see what they're going to do. I already had my team selling in 4, 5, 6 different states, even though I was only licensed in 2, using a consulting firm. A lot of gray area there, but it was working. Sure. So I said, let me see if this is the real deal. And it took a couple months. And by December, I said, everyone's moving their license. And we haven't looked back since then. So, the biggest thing I believe with eXp Commercial is having that sister partnership with eXp Realty and letting these realtors know that, hey, there's additional income out there, that you can work as partners with us. I was already going to the Florida National Association of Realtors conferences. I was already working deals. I was used to already talking to realtors. And as a business broker, anyone in the business broker world, they never like talking to the realtors or anyone else, not even other brokers. But I knew that relationship, like in Florida, there's 215,000 active realtors. There's only 1,000 business brokers. So they're actually active. They're boots on the ground. They're in the community. They're the ones that are doing all that community service stuff, getting their names out, having the billboards, all that stuff. I'm like, I knew where the market was. And then I realized that EXP, Realty, and commercial combined, but has 88,000 partners across the board. Is it 90,000? Probably 90,000.
Yeah.
So we started focusing on that and just getting my team acclimated to EXP Commercial, their technology, their tools, and a lot of stuff that I couldn't provide as an independent broker that would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. EXP Commercial provided. So that was amazing in itself. But it's the culture that I think really added to everything. So, I do my Christmas parties, our weekly gatherings. We do those kind of things, and that's cool. My team loves it. But to go to Vegas for EXP Con, which they've been to twice, to go to the shareholders, which we go, they don't have a choice. They have to go because that's our team bonding, and they get to meet all the other partners that we have across the nation. It's been amazing. So getting to what we're actually discussing with the actual referrals, we don't even call them referrals. And Stephanie knows what we call them now. We call it agent payday. So we have developed a lot of relationships, and we've got, right now, we have deals from EXP Realty agents in about 7 states that we're actively running. And we paid out close to $100,000 in the last 90 days, and looking forward to paying out almost $200,000 with what we got under contract right now. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. That's a ton of money. Gerard, some of those agent paydays, because these agents have spent their years in the business, selling houses, doing that. You go to a room, you get on a Zoom, you do whatever, and you say, agents, go ask your existing sphere of influence, how many of them know people who own businesses. Everybody raises their hand. Yes. And then they start tapping into that market. And I love the fact that I've witnessed you paying agent paydays, referral fees agents, so you understand, more in referral fees for bringing you that business opportunity than they've made selling the biggest house they've ever sold, or even more off of that one deal, that one referral, than they've made in that whole year. It's amazing. And because it is a niche, and not everybody can be a business broker.
You just nailed it. So typically, whether it was in front of any groups of realtors, and I do this on stage sometimes, I always ask the group, we did this in Gatlinburg, how many of you guys know somebody that owns a business? Everyone raise a hand.
Yep. How
many of you know somebody that bought or sold a business the last few years? Majority of people raise their hand. Then you ask them, how many got paid?
Nobody.
And no one raises their hands.
No.
I've done this to thousands of realtors, and I go, why not? And the last check that we just cut was for $43,560. That's not a referral fee. That's a payday. Typically, if you look at what realtors make average across the board, it's about $40,000 nationwide, right? $43,000. We're looking at paying out one at $78,000, and a deal that I'm on a phone with here in a couple hours, it'll be $146,000 when we make this deal happen. And this deal will happen. This is the deal that we've talked about. Think about $146,000 check.
Here's what I love. We got to share this part of it, because that agent that's going to make $146,000 for being smart enough to ask the questions, being smart enough to bring you the deal so that you can represent it, because he doesn't have that experience. You do. He's going to make $146,000. He's in a rural market in Eastern Kentucky, where the average house sells for $73,000. What's 3% of $73,000? What, $1,800? He's got to sell how many houses or
Heck of a
land or
lot.
whatever to get to that one agent payday for being smart enough to ask the questions to his already existing clientele and to bring you that deal. It's pretty awesome.
What's best about that is he just happened to be talking to his father's friend who knew he was in real estate. He goes, we're just thinking about selling our business. They had no clue what the business is worth. So it's just, he's a young man. His father knew this gentleman. That's how this all started. It's going to be the people right around you. It'll be your family. It'll be your friend. It's going to be, it may be a former client that you just haven't spoken to in a long time. So ultimately, we're going to be putting out all the scripts, both for YouTube, points, put your videos out, put it out on social media, partnering with us in order to send these deals. And I always say this, I make this clear. So I talked to one real estate agent who had put out, hey, I'm looking, my client wants to sell a business. And she's like, can you help us? I said, well, I have to talk to that client. So we always make sure, I always give the confidence of this. Listen, we'll talk to the client. We'll look at what their business is doing. We'll make sure their financials are good. And if we determine the value, we pull comps. But if we come to an agreement, we say we can sell it for this price. And I've never had a client, by the time we've done the valuation, done the comps, had the conversation, they always agree with me. Yes, Gerard, you're right. You're correct in the value here. We'll take it to market. But I always tell them this, if I put my name on a listing, it's getting sold. It's getting sold. And we will also tell the client, and if the realtors bring us the referrals, and if the client's not ready to sell, we tell them that too. Maybe wait a year or 2 years. You're not ready. You're not peaking out yet. Go continue to make your money. Because our job isn't just to list a business to sell and make money. Our job is to take care of the realtor's clients, our clients. It's a combined partnership to make sure we sell that business for that client, the highest price in the market at the right time. Because whether we sell it now or sell it a year from now, I've got 10 clients that I had to put off one the other day for 18 months. And he goes, I don't think I'd talk to another broker that would put me off for 18 months. I'm like, you're not ready to sell. You're grown. You can get $1.5 million more by waiting 18 months. Do you want to wait $1.5 million more? Wait, do you want that? And he goes, I've never had a broker like say, I'm going to put you off. I go, I'm not putting you off. I'm going to update your valuation. I say, but think about this. When you sell, you make more money and then I make more money. So it's a win-win. But that's the comfort level that we give our partners in realty and commercial to make sure when we do something, it's all about that client. It's client relationships. So we will handle them with kid gloves, make sure, we walk them down the right path and get them ready to sell, get their business ready to sell. Because when we do it, we're gonna do it. But the paydays, they're just amazing. We're going to continue to do this.
And creating those global now relationships with real EXP realty agents and EXP commercial agents. Not only are you servicing the business owner at a high level, but these are game-changing paydays for these agents, right? So it's a win-win-win, and then your team gets to grow as well. So that's some of the magic that we can make happen at EXP is those kinds of combined partnerships and these win-win-win attitudes. I love it.
And think about this, Lisa Marie. This is the plan. I actually said this so EXP Corporate created a business brokerage committee. So they're focused. We all know how long it takes corporate to really focus on stuff, but they're focused on really publicly letting the public know, the agents know that, hey, there is a business brokerage dedicated division to go out and sell businesses, right? So I want to create, and I probably have never said this to you, Stephanie, we can create the biggest business brokerage to take over. And I won't even say the other names because to me, they're not competitors.
Right.
The funniest thing in the world is when I'm talking to the business brokers of Florida committees that won't let EXP in right now because technically their bylaws, they got to have all agents that are in commercial sign up when they're not business brokers, so they're not going to do it. They're changing bylaws from me because in front of the state committee in Florida, the gentleman who's our proponent to make them change the bylaws showed them that my team sold more than 70% of their agents combined out of 1,000 agents. Think about that. I mean, they're like, we're changing the bylaws. I'm like, do you need me up in front of the committee? Like, no, we've already read your email, and it was pretty straightforward and demanding.
Compelling.
It's very telling. So we could take all 50 states and also around the world and the countries and make the biggest business brokerage under the EXP brand. I think we can do that in 2 to 3 short years, not a decade. Most of these firms we're going to beat have been around 30, 40 years. You know the names. They're trying to get EXP to buy them. We're gonna build and I love this. So you're talking about bringing your other show is about women and supporting women. I was telling Lisa Marie this. If you notice my team, I've been a proponent of bringing so many women into the business brokerage arena because there's less than 8% that do it. So like I push Angel, and I got Kelly, and I got Maria, who I'm teaching, who's she's a badass Ukrainian.
We like badasses on the show.
You look at my team, it's predominantly women, and like Angel winning the IBBA Women's Scholarship, she was called by that big T brokerage. Hey, we see everything you're doing. Would you like to represent us in Pensacola? She goes, my team's represented in 50 states. Why would I want to just be local? I'm already dominating Florida. It was the funniest thing in the world.
Bye-bye. Click.
She's like, I'm not leaving my team, the Shark team. So that was the funniest thing in the world because I will push them. Like when she won the scholarship, when Angel won the scholarship, I had actually sent a year ago, she should have won. And they gave it to somebody that was outside the parameters, who was a broker's wife. And I lost it. I wanted to lose it on the IBBA committee. I said, Angel, I want to blow the committee up right now. You tell me if I can do it. And she goes, do you think I have a chance on the next round? I go, maybe. She goes, why don't you wait one more round? And then I'll say, green light you. I'll to go do it. And I did, and she won. So I'm very protective of my team. And we're going to grow it. And we're going to make sure we dominate the U.S. First, So I'm just really excited about all this.
I love
amazing.
I got a lot of passion. I can talk about this all day long.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love your energy around all of this, Gerard. And I've always wanted to do business brokering, but I've owned my own brokerage like Stephanie, and I've been with some other brokerages, and I never had the opportunity to move into the business brokerage arena. So when I came to EXP and found out that we could do that, I was so stoked. Last year, I went to the IBBA conference in Denver, and I was really surprised as a commercial broker going to a business broker annual conference. It's like a whole new world. It's kind of like, I live in Nevada, which is the Wild West. Business brokering can be like the Wild West, right? And so it's nice that EXP is putting some structure around it and that you're reaching out to so many people, because this is something that a lot of people didn't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the past year we've been able to help put some guidelines out, because we want to make sure that anyone representing themselves as business brokers under the EXP brand, commercial, they need to have the proper credentials, which is that CBI, Certified Business Intermediary, or they have a mentor that's a CBI, or they've done 10 to 15 deals in business. A lot of commercial persons, agents get a little confused because they think they do business because they do commercial stuff. And I'm in
Totally
one
different.
lane. I'm only in one lane.
Totally different.
I only do one product.
Yeah.
I don't care about residential. I don't care about multifamily. I don't care about mixed use developments. Everyone else can have all that. I do business sales, and that's all we do. So we're good at it. We focus on one thing.
That's what was so interesting going to the International Business Broker Association, for those of you listening, is that, most of these business brokers were like, you have a real estate license? What? You deal in real estate? So it's a completely different mindset, just focusing on businesses. And I was like, coming in with 18 years experience in the commercial real estate realm, I was totally blown away. And I agree with you. There is so much unpicked fruit in this lane of corporate, business. I mean, it's not even just commercial real estate, like you said. It's phenomenal.
There's 12,000 people, agents in the nation that advertise themselves as business brokers. Only 12,000, and half of those are independent, so they're by themselves. Typically, the demographic is older white guy with an assistant, usually his wife. The others are franchise type brokers. Yeah. So they're geographically challenged. And that's what eXp Commercials brought us. So I literally, from Florida, had the biggest deal in Alabama, closing it through the state broker. So it's like I had the biggest deal from being a Florida business broker over all their commercial people in Alabama. So it's like, we're going to do that. And we're going to dominate every single one of these states. Red state, I don't care. We got it. We know how to work all those deals. So that's what we're really excited about. And if you think about where this industry is going, most people probably listening don't even know a business broker. I mean, we have 4. I have 3 in my town. One's been around since 1994. One's been around since 99. And one's been around since 2013. And when I meet people, even in my own town, they know me. They're like, I didn't know these other guys, because we're so confidential in our process that they forget that they're making themselves they're making what they do confidential. So we're going to take this thing, like with what Stephanie's shown me, with what eXp does, to the social media. I mean, I've done 0 marketing in my career. I got attorneys, I've got CP, I got people for years that send me all their referrals. We're lighting that up right now as we speak. So that's how we're going to make that number that we discussed, that $1 billion number. Because can you imagine just marketing? Like, I really do 0 marketing. So, outside of what we're now doing, can you believe that?
Well, and the reason why it happens is because, agents deserve to make as much money as they want, right? They've built those relationships with their sphere. We're now educating them on just another piece of a conversation to bring into that equation, and then get to earn money. I was talking to a realtor this morning, and I said, on average, what's the statistic now of people staying in their houses? And I think it's 7 years. Every 7 years, somebody is going to go out and buy another home and sell their existing home. Well, imagine if those people own businesses or want to buy multiple business. Maybe that transaction is not 1 every 7 years. Maybe it's 2 or 3 throughout the course of those 7 years. You just never know. And because the conversation, the education, there's not really any training that's going on unless you sit for the CBI designation, but there's nothing else. People don't think about it. And so that's why I love that you came to eXp, because you really began that entire conversation and getting realtors to think of other ways to utilize their existing sphere of influence and maximize their earnings each and every single year. We're not asking people to say, hey, you need to become a business broker. No. Stay in your lane and do what you're great at. But don't give away any money and have those conversations and have the right to earn. It just makes complete sense. And not just for eXp agents, any agent out there, look, that we're a collaborative group of people. We all are, that's our nature. That's our nature. But, we don't hear about business brokering when we're at the Remaxes or the KWs or whatever brand out there, because they're unfamiliar with it. And they're never going to allow agents or speak to agents or teach agents to have these conversations, because they don't know enough about it. And they don't know a business broker expert to even begin to think. And that's what I love. eXp came into, the real estate brokerage industry, 12 years ago and totally turned it up on its head, but what we're doing with the business brokering side of things, you really flipped something like people just smacked their backs and knocked the air out of them, right? I mean, because it is going to be unheard of. And you're right, Gerard, we will within 2-3 years. Why would anybody go anywhere else but EXP? They can sell their house, buy a commercial building, buy a business, and sell their business.
Absolutely. What I love on the side of it, and I make this statement, it's like, think about this additional income for the realty agents, for our partners in realty and the commercial agents too, is literally you're handing your client over that you just happen to say something to. You just verbally hand them over to us, and then we take it from there all the way to close. So some of these we do all the work. We do all the work, and then you get paid. And I like referring to this one deal that just how we treat clients and how we treat our referring partners, our agent payday partners, I will say, is that last deal that we paid $43,560 on. We actually, when we did the listing on the business, it was under my brokerage before I left EXP. So it was under my brokerage.
Before you came.
When we did 4 months later, when my entire team is under EXP Commercial, we did the real property. The owner said, I want to sell everything. So 4 months after the referral of business, we did another referral. So one was under the one brokerage, one's under EXP. We paid that agent their commission off everything. They didn't even know we listed that real property till we got close under contract. And we're like,
surprise.
Hey, and she was so shocked. She goes, you're going to pay me on that? And we go, absolutely. Why wouldn't we? You're the one that sent us a referral. There's a lot of brokers out there that would have justified the time. Say, well, we convinced them to do the real property, or definitely would have justified the two brokerages. We had to cut checks from two different brokerages. That made that $43,560. And they did a shark dance for us. So anyone listening, you got to do a shark dance. So, but you get a lot of credibility within your community and with your partners when you look at things. So on our referral agreements, everyone has oh, if it takes more than a year. Look, if you send us a referring client and it takes a minute to get them under whenever that closes, that agent will be paid. So we want to gain the trust of our partners. Integrity. Sell as much as we can and build this big thing with everybody, because there's so much money out there that we all can share. We all can make money, and no one has to, my team knows you're not greedy. We don't even, my team has my philosophy, which is take care of your partners, take care of that client, then everyone wins.
Yeah. Am I right in this statistics? And I think I'm right on this statistic. There are $3 trillion worth of businesses that are going to be bought and sold over the next 5 years. Is that right?
That's really close. Yes, you're there. Think about that number.
3 trillion. That's trillion. $3 trillion worth of businesses will be bought and sold over the next 5 years. Say 1% of those people, or not. I mean, do the math, people. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But when we look at, one of the big reasons why EXP Commercial wanted to make sure we went into the business brokering space was because we knew it was already necessary. We knew it was already necessary because we saw agents listing commercial properties with businesses in them, and we were seeing money go out the door. So we were looking for people like you, Gerard, who had that experience, who had the designations, who had the history of success to lead it up right. But we also were paying attention to the headlines. And what have we all been reading over the course of the last 3 years? The Great Resignation. People are leaving corporate America because they want to be entrepreneurs. What are they doing? They're buying businesses, right? And then you look at the baby boomers, which I'm pretty sure is still the largest population on earth. And they are business owners, and now they're looking for those exit strategies. They're looking for retirement. And so that's why that $3 trillion number is not off the charts. And it's a statistic, and I may be off by just a smidge, but I know it's $3 trillion. It's either over the next 3 or 5 years, somewhere in there.
There's no real heavy marketing to those baby boomers right now. There's no real, they really don't know. So it's either they happen to have a professional working with them, their CPA, their attorneys, that happens to refer to somebody they know, or they're hunting it. So we got to make it known within that population. And I'm doing a big push within that realm with AARP and a whole bunch of stuff that we're doing to get them in there. And I love what you said, Stephanie. So one of Angel's deals, I refer to it as one of her deals we cut her teeth on. And she sharpened them on this deal. She convinced a corporate executive to use her 401k, move from California to Panama City Beach to buy a dog grooming place where there is an apartment. So she's living with the dog. I mean, their dogs are
live, work,
take care. I mean, she used that to do his SBA.
It's the dog's life.
How the heck did you do that? And Angel just looked at me dumbfounded. She goes, "You told me to." I'm like, I love you.
But it's true. You know, people, there's a whole entire group of people. And I think the youth is the same way. You know, we have kids we all have kids in their 20s, and they're all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
None of them went to work at corporate America because they've watched us be entrepreneurs, you know?
And watch what's happening where all these layoffs are happening.
Yeah.
They're looking for businesses. They're not going to be able to go back into corporate America. So I'm not going to use the R word, but as the economy slows, okay, and people are being laid off and they've got their money set aside, they're looking for businesses. So you got those people and the baby boomers. It's an easy match to happen, you know. So we're ultimately creating this big database that, for lack of a better words, is going to be a match.com of buyers and sellers together. We're creating one hopefully by the end of the year where it's going to be a swipe left, swipe right if you like it, and a whole bunch of stuff's going to happen.
Business dating, I love it.
So it's really exciting, and with AI is going to make this a lot easier on us. We're using a lot of that AI technology right now that we're going to be developing these systems in place that we can handle a whole lot of this stuff with a small amount of people that just happens behind the scenes. But we do want some quality people to come in the business brokerage world. We will actively start looking for people to join, you know, because it takes a special person. You don't have to start off understanding financials. Like I said, I couldn't read financials for my first 3 years. Now I'm a certified SBA appraiser. And that was some of the toughest stuff I ever had to learn. But outside of that, it's actually not a hard gig. And it's something I love.
Exactly.
I love it.
You're good at it, and it shows, and the passion shows. And, you know, and I encourage people to definitely check it out, because, you know, there's no better place to learn this business than at EXP. And I mean, you know, you owned your own brokerage, Gerard. I owned my own brokerage. Lisa Marie owned her own brokerage. We had a need to do business everywhere, to do real estate everywhere, not just our localized market, because we were outgrowing that localized market. And that's what EXP is all about. And I love this whole business concept because, again, you don't have to become a business broker. If you want to, that's an opportunity as well. But if you just are looking to make additional income off your already existing sphere, it's one thing you've got to do. Call them up. You got to check on those clients anyway.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, it is our jobs as real estate brokers and agents to follow up and stay in touch with our database. And so here's one more way you can reach out and say, "Hey, Nancy, how have you been? Hey, by the way, do you and Bob own or ever want to buy a business? Or do you know anybody else that does?" It's that simple, you all. That's it. Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Lisa.
Our business is based on conversations, right? Being in real estate of any kind, conversations are free. So really the main message here today, besides our global domination at EXP, is encouraging residential and commercial agents to have those conversations with their sphere. All you need to do is open up your mouth and ask the question. And if you're working with the Sharp team, you could be having some big agent paydays, some cha-ching coming your way. So thank you so much, Gerard. It's been great having you today.
I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
All
Take
right.
care. Reach out.